Toluse, this is confirmed by the AP. It is not, however, confirmed by other sources yet. Are you hearing anything there at the White House?
Yes, we're hearing from multiple sources who have heard from the White House that the pick will be Merrick Garland, who is the Chief Justice on the D.C. Circuit. This is someone who has gotten rave reviews from both Republicans and Democrats in the past, whose legal credentials are very well known, and who could give Republicans a very difficult choice if they're going to continue to stick with their plan of blocking the nomination.
Yes, and in fact, just to give some of his background, he was on the shortlist of President Obama for the last 2 high court vacancies. And he was also involved, for example, in the prosecution of Timothy McVeigh, the Oklahoma bomber. So we do know a lot about his background. What other decisions has he been involved in?
Well, he's been on the court for almost 20 years. He was first nominated by Bill Clinton, and he said that the Supreme Court nominee that he bases his background on is the Supreme Court. He basically said that it's very clear that he's a moderate, and his moderation is very well known. So this is a decision that will be difficult for Republicans to stick with if they're going to continue to block this nomination.
And they have been adamant about that they will not have hearings. Do you think that it will make it difficult now that we actually have a name and a person associated with what could be the next Supreme Court justice for them to continue to block this?
Yes, it will be quite difficult. This name is someone who very many Republicans are already on the record as saying that his legal credentials are pretty astounding. Orrin Hatch, one of the Republicans on the Judiciary Committee, has said that he would be a great nominee and would be basically almost unanimously supported when he was previously considered for a previous Supreme Court opening. So some of those quotes will be brought back up, and it'll be difficult for Republicans to sort of stick with what they've said in the past and square that with what they're saying now, which is that they will not even meet with this current nominee.
Let's bring in Bloomberg News' Washington Bureau Chief Megan Murphy now. And Megan, I just want to ask you, this obviously is not exactly a surprise because there were 3 names on a shortlist. However, it did seem like perhaps Srinivasan was the frontrunner.
Yeah, I would say this is a little bit of a surprise, and this is the consensus choice. This is clearly the president is going to go for someone he believes, as Toluse was saying, is going to be impossible for Republicans to keep up this very hard line of them saying, you know, we will not even take this person to a vote. We will not even have a meeting with this person. Sri's name was in the frame. I think a lot of people expected him. He would have been the first Asian American justice, an immigrant for the first time in 50 years. But clearly, Obama, looking at the political calculus here, has decided that putting the Republicans in a situation where they actually have to refuse someone that is universally known as a moderate, as someone who would be a sort of consensus choice in any other year, will put them in a very difficult spot.
What else do we know about Mr. Garland, Merrick Garland? We know he's 63, we know he's been based in D.C. in the circuit court there, and we know that he is a little bit similar to John Roberts in his background.
It's funny you mentioned John Roberts. One of the judges that Republicans bring up the most is their nominee, who now has turned out to be, in some camps, a liberal for defending Obamacare. He's been around for a long time. He has a long record. He's known as a moderate. He's known as someone who's just an incredibly respected jurist. And that's what he'll be looking for. As you mentioned, he's been up before. He's been considered before. He's been vetted before, and he's the kind of choice that Republicans will be kind of worried about, because if this becomes a true political fight, as it already has been, and which it promises to continue to be, those old comments they've made about him will remain. They will get discussed, and they'll be in the position of having to defend what some people view as indefensible.